My wife Oksana and I serve with EFCA Reach Global as missionaries, and we live in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Having our son Stephen diagnosed with autism at age 2 is probably one of the hardest things that we've had to face in ministry and in our lives. For us, it meant leaving the place, the people, and the ministry that we loved to come to the United States to get early intervention therapy for our son. Shortly after coming back to the U.S., our daughter Elizabeth was born, and she was about 11 months diagnosed with a pervasive developmental disorder. It was probably the most difficult time in our lives, having to think about having 2 kids with a developmental disorder and what we would do to help them. We cried out to the Lord and to His people for help, and God provided. Stephen's early intervention therapy went very well. Elizabeth, in time, lost her diagnosis, and she's doing wonderfully. Stephen's now in kindergarten, and he's making great progress. But through it all, we learned to rely more deeply on the Lord, call out to Him, and to rely upon His people. Though it's meant a change in ministry from being on the field to preparing missionaries for on-field service, also designing courses for our veteran missionaries to help them become more fruitful, delivering conferences also and workshops from Latin America to Asia and to Europe for me.
Having Stephen diagnosed with autism gave me a new passion in life. I began learning about autism and different ways to help kids on the spectrum reach their full potential. I started coaching and encouraging moms here whose kids was recently diagnosed with autism. We counted our blessings that we were able to come to the U.S. and to get the best possible help for Stephen. At the same time, realizing that there were thousands of families in Ukraine who had no hope and no help with their children. We began praying and dreaming about going back, and last fall we finally went and spoke at 2 conferences sharing about the modern ways of treating autism and our hope in Jesus. After our trip, I went to work at Stephen's former school to get more experience so that we can return to Ukraine again and provide more hands-on training for parents and professionals.
And also I've been getting training with Johnny and Friends in disability ministry with the hope of taking that training to churches, especially in Ukraine, that would like to understand more about helping people who have disabilities and reaching out. So we just want to say thank you again, and we want to encourage you to attend the Eastside Community Church Missions Conference on March 10th and 11th.